A massive container ship, the new Voyager, is making its way toward the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most vital shipping choke points on the entire planet. And it gets this message: pay in Chinese currency, not dollars. This isn't just some new fee, it's a shot across the bow of a financial order that's been in place for 50 years. Today, we're diving into a fascinating analysis that lays out a potential future challenge to the US dollar's dominance on the world stage. The argument is that the groundwork for a huge shift is already being laid. So the big question is, how on earth could we get to a point where a military force just sets up a toll booth in an international waterway and demands payment in a specific currency and it's not the US dollar? Way back, 50 years to be exact, to a handshake deal that changed the world. And that brings us to the main event, something called the petrodollar system. This has been the absolute bedrock of the US dollar's power for half a century. You can think of it as a deal built on two huge pillars. One, oil is priced in US dollars everywhere. And two, the US Navy makes sure the ceilings where all that oil travels are safe and secure. This timeline is really key to the whole story. In 1971, the dollar gets cut loose from gold. It's a huge moment. But just 3 years later, in '74, it gets a brand new anchor, oil. That's the petrodollar deal. But then, fast forward to 2024, the 50-year security agreement wasn't renewed. And that, right there, could be the anchor starting to slip. So here's the crucial part. This whole thing created this really brilliant feedback loop if you think about it. Every country needed US dollars to buy oil, so the oil-producing nations would get flooded with all these dollars. And what did they do with them? They turn around and buy US Treasury bonds, which, you guessed it, helped finance America's massive government debt. In exchange for all that, the US provides security. It's this constant global demand for dollars that's kept it on top. Okay, now let's flip over to the other side of this global chessboard. And it involves a very, very old form of money, gold. The analysis zeroes in on Russia, which it claims is busy building what you could call a golden fortress. Now, according to the analysis, a move like this isn't what it might look like. It's not a sign of weakness or desperation. Instead, it's presented as a very deliberate, very strategic policy called a gold lock. And the goal is simple: to hoard all the gold Russia mines, and we're talking over 300 tons a year, inside its own borders, instead of selling it on the global market. Okay, but here's where it gets kind of confusing, right? On one hand, Russia is selling its official gold reserves, taking them down to a 4-year low. But on the other hand, they're supposedly getting ready to ban all gold exports. I mean, that sounds completely contradictory. But it's actually a super clever solution to a very specific, very tricky problem. See, here's the problem they're apparently trying to solve. Russia has mountains of Chinese yuan from all its trade, but you can't exactly pay Russian soldiers or government workers in yuan. And converting huge piles of yuan into rubles is a real headache. So the solution is to sell gold inside Russia for rubles to fund their budget directly. And the export ban? Well, that's the genius part. It makes sure that all that gold, the actual physical asset, never leaves the country. It just moves around inside Russia's borders. Okay, so now let's connect the dots. This is where those two big ideas, the toll booth in the Strait of Hormuz and Russia's gold block, supposedly come together and weave into one powerful financial loop. And boom, here's the whole cycle laid out. Step 1, Iran's toll booth forces ships to pay in yuan. Step 2, all that yuan piles up. Step 3, that yuan is then used to buy physical gold from a country like Russia. And step 4, the final piece. That gold is then held within the BRICS alliance as the physical backing for a proposed new currency. It's a loop designed to do one thing: turn trade into a hard asset, all without touching a single US dollar. So this all leads to the showdown. And we're not talking about a war with missiles and tanks. We're talking about an economic Cold War. A clash between two totally different ways of thinking about money. One based on a promise, and the other based on a physical thing. And right at the heart of the US system, you've got this number. It's just staggering. The analysis argues a debt this big is only possible because the petrodollar system created a world full of customers who have to buy US bonds. It basically asks, if the world doesn't need dollars for oil anymore, who's going to buy all this debt? And on the other side of the ring, you have this number. This is the direct challenge. The new BRICS currency is being designed with a 40% backing in physical gold. This isn't money based on trust in a government. It's an attempt to go back to the old school, to link a currency directly to a tangible asset, something the world hasn't really seen since 1971. So, at the end of the day, this is what it all boils down to. On one side, you've got the dollar system, born in 1974. It's a fiat currency backed by an agreement and by military power. On the other side, you have this proposed alternative, a currency backed by physical stuff, mainly gold. It's really a clash of philosophies, a promise versus a physical thing. Which brings us back to the ultimate question this whole analysis is building towards. It's arguing that these things, the toll booth, the gold lock, they aren't just random events. They're supposedly part of a coordinated long-term strategy to create an alternative to the world we live in now.
Follow us to get more of such world order analysis.